All right. What's up with it? I was over there on them niggas' ass on the other NBA live stream. I had to come over here real quick. That's why I'm a little bit late. What's up with your ghosting? So Donald, what's up, Shaq? I think Bree's gonna be in Origins just every now and then. Yeah, I think that's true too. But we're gonna talk about it. Give it about a few more minutes to give other folks some time to get up in here. But yeah, we got some shit to talk about, people. Cause I've gotta say, I damn sure ain't happy about that 8 episodes. I know I ain't. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I can't wait until the trailer drops so we can officially get the news on the 8 to 10 episodes. Most of the sources aren't too credible, I'm saying. Yeah. So I mean, we're still not 100% sure on the we're still not 100% sure on the 8 episodes, but it does seem like it might be some truth to it. Because we do know that No Label to Label ended up reporting it. And it comes from an article. I would say No Label is kind of, he'd be right with most of the shit he'd be saying. So, you know, but I guess we still have to wait. One thing's for sure though that we can be happy about is that trailer is coming no later than next week. That we do know. Song Jones was good. Hey, I saw that it looked like you moved to Atlanta. So you ended up moving to Atlanta? But yeah, so we got since they didn't, let's see, today's Monday, because remember I said the days we need to be looking at for the trailer. It could drop Thursday, people. It could. Like I wouldn't be shocked if it drops Thursday. Actually, I'm hoping for it. But they might give us. But we just gotta pay attention up in the news feed, on Instagram and stuff like that. They're probably gonna put out some news saying the trailer is dropping this day or whatever. Even if the trailer doesn't drop this week, we probably will get some news on the day that the trailer will be dropping. But I would say, I mean, it gotta drop by at least next Tuesday. But unless they planning on doing it exactly a month, before, which they could end up doing, it probably end up being next Tuesday. I think it might be Ghost Kanan shaking his hand at the dinner, and I noticed a book on the table. What you mean, Shot? Yeah, I got a teaching job there. Are you going to come visit me? Well, Atlanta is a place where work happens there sometimes. So perhaps I'll be in the area some of them days. One of these days, I don't know. Perhaps. and I got some family living in Atlanta. Sometimes, I even think about even moving there myself because sometimes LA be on some bullshit. But anyways, if it's true, I hope it doesn't feel rushed. Penn said he planned 5 seasons, 8 episodes. They'll have to get straight to the point. No bullshit. Right. That's what I'm the most concerned about too, Ghost. R.I.P. Breeze. He wasn't smart, so he ain't last that long. Do you still have the same definitions for the season, or has it changed? I think I still got pretty. I don't think anything has changed for me yet. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into these 8 episodes. So, like, we don't know if it's going to be 8 episodes or not, but let's just go with the hypothetical so far of that the sources that people have been given is credible. Let's say it is true. If it's 8 episodes, then to Ghoston's point, I believe they're going to go straight to the point. Like I've been predicting for over a year now that I predict this last season of Raising Kanan will be the most explosive, bloodiest season of Power we have ever seen. I also predicted it to be the best season of Power we've ever seen, and this is including the OG Power. That's just the high standards that I hold it to. Because in my opinion, Raising Kanan has the potential to challenge OG Power. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people share that with me. But let's say it's 8 episodes. With that being said, because we saw up in the articles as well that said the Thomas family is going to be dealing with their downfall. Basically, it's going to be the end of the Thomas family. So if it's going to be the end of the Thomas family, that means that somebody else is taking over. We know who the ones that's taking over is. The ones that's taking over is going to be Breeze and Kanan. So with that being said, perhaps the Thomas family might be kind of similar to what Ronald said. They might knock them. He said he may have said what did he say? The first 4 or 5 episodes. If it's actually 8 episodes in total, they might put an end to them in like the first 3 episodes. Because you got a lot to cover. I mean, things that we know that they have to cover is they're gonna have to cover the ending the Thomas. You got to cover Kanan finding out about Snaps and Pop. They can't end this season without showing that. If all of them were to go out, this is crazy. So let's talk about the Thomas family. Even though I do have a segment where it says who survives, right? And basically I'm talking about all of the remaining main characters of the show. But we're going to focus on the Thomas family really quickly. Could it possibly be a scenario where all of them get wiped out at once? Like, keep this in mind. I still think about to this day of episode 9, season 2 of the original Power, when Kanan spoke about, spraying that motherfucker like it's 1992. We still have yet to see that of what he's talking about. I have no doubt in my mind that this season of Raising Kanan is going to show us what event he was talking about. So could this be a scenario where maybe all of them get wiped out at once? Like, let's say they in a location or something like that, and man, it's a brutal shooting. And if so, the question would be, do y'all think Kanan would be involved in the demise of his own family? Go look at the trailer after the episode 10. You can see Kanan shaking someone's hand, but they didn't show their face for a reason. And I think Kanan off Lulu too. Okay, so the trailer that you're speaking of, what are you talking about? Obviously, you're talking about a teaser. So you're saying that he's shaking someone's hand in the teaser at the end of Raising Kanan season 4. That's what you're speaking of. Okay, so I don't really remember that one too much. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Is it still there too? Because sometimes stars be taking stuff down after a certain amount of time. Who don't watch 211 on Stars? And 211 got Michael Rainey in it. So I'm looking at it right now. Matter of fact, let me just share it. Yeah, I think they don't took that bitch out. Yeah, he took it out. It's not there anymore. It's probably on a website somewhere or something, but it's not there. Which people do I think Breeze takes off the board? Shit. Obviously, he's gonna take down some big people. Somebody big, I say. It looks like the one that everybody would think would be unique, which is possible, very much possible. What's up, NG? So it could end up turning out to be him, and it also could turn out to be his uncle and auntie. I can see him doing that. Yeah, Scotty boy, it could be them being cheap. It also could be the possibility that it isn't true. We don't have 100% confirmation, but to be honest with you, I'm starting to believe that it is, unfortunately. And if it is, I think it's going to be super action packed. You know how they do a lot of the build up episodes. We won't see very many build up episodes. It's going to get right to the action because they would have to have a lot to cover. And if it is only 8 episodes, I would like to believe it got to be a budget issue. And with it being a budget issue, I should do a video on this. I probably will, maybe tomorrow sometime. But more than likely, it's probably going to be a budget issue going on, which I would imagine Shamik Moore would cost a lot with him being on some pretty big shows and movies. So and then obviously with this being the fourth season, Patina is going to be quite expensive, along with Joey and Makai, all the the characters that's been on there for 4 seasons, and now it's about to be the fifth season. Those prices are adding up. So with that being said, it could be that they did it like that because of the budget. And if it is a budget issue, it could also mean that Rock is alive because they got to fit in the budget with both of them. So they take off 2 episodes in order to make it work. So that could be what it means. You think we get an Origins trailer at the end of Raising Kanan? We probably will get a small teaser. In fact, if I had to bet on it, I would say yes, a small teaser. I think he'd take out Snap and Pop to show Kanan he's on whatever he's on, knowing they played Kanan. Kanan and Bree's gonna take out them dirty cops as well. Yeah, could definitely see that. So, other reasons, let's see, talking about these 8 episodes. The biggest thing could be, is the budget. Let me go ahead and point out another reason why it could be a potential 8 episodes. It also could be because, like I said, with the budget, and keep in mind, Origins is going to be 16 episodes. So think about this: in order to make it work, so that they can keep all of the characters in there, like certain characters, like obviously Makai is going to come up. We know Makai is coming over to Origins. They said that Haley is not, which is starting to look like she won't. But we don't know who's going to survive and who isn't. Let's just say, because to me, when it comes to the Thomas family, I think Lou has the highest percent chance of surviving. That's just my opinion. So if he does, and he comes over to Origins as well, then obviously they got to fit in that budget, fit him into the budget. But think about this: it's a different show. So with it being a different show, they don't have to pay the same amount. So that's the thing. Because the show gets way more expensive once they made it to the 4th season. But if not, it's a different show. Start season 1, they don't have to pay that price. So now the new plan is to be, let's shoot more episodes in one season, like 16 episodes in the first season. And then let's just say the second season, they do 16 as well. And even the third season, 16 episodes, right? If they do it like that, that way they can still tell the same amount of story, get the revenue for all of the same revenue for all the episodes, and at the same time still lowering the cost. So that's probably what they're doing. Lionsgate part ways with Stars, so they lost a lot of funding. I didn't know that. Damn. That would make sense though, yeah. Origins era about to be so cold. Let me see. We seen the other ones already. Yeah. So yeah, man. That's my opinion on what could potentially be going on with these 8 episodes. The reason why they decided to do that, definitely a budget situation. And then the next season, it makes me wonder what are they going to do the same thing with Legacy? Like they could do the same thing with Legacy, 16 episodes, 16 episodes, 16 episodes. That way they get 4 seasons worth of 4 to 5 seasons worth of footage out. So they still get the same amount of episodes screened, but save on the cost. I mean, it makes sense. What's up, DeMarcus? So, yeah, if this 8 episodes is true, that's my opinion on what's going on. Just taking out Snaps and Pop. Why y'all talking like they lightweights? Pop's peanut butter and strawberry jam crystal ass. They know how to move heavy. I'm not sure what you're saying, but man, I don't got that question so many times now. I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, Rocket probably is. I mean, I did think that she would be up out of here, but at the same time, with that budget situation, it could be because she's alive. Because like I said, putting her in it raises the cost. And you said the part ways of Lionsgate situation. I'm sure Lionsgate was still a part of them once Raising Kanan was done finished shooting. So that ain't got nothing to do with it. Perhaps moving forward, yes. Like dealing with origins, yes. But as far as Raising Kanan season 5, I mean that was shot in 2024. Y'all talking like Snaps and Pop, it's people who can just get killed. I'm saying they not lightweights, they big dogs. Yeah, I can agree with that. But here's the problem with that. Breeze is someone that they actually trust, probably. That's their nephew, probably their beloved nephew. So he could actually be close enough to take them out. Same shit that happened to Ghost. Somebody he don't see it. Now, don't y'all get started. I'm not saying the Ghost is dead, but Tariq was actually close enough to touch him. The power timelines we have left is 1985 slash the 80s, and the future timelines, like for example, year 2027 and moving forward. What time frame would you like to see next? I mean, I guess it depends on who it is we're talking about, because you know, yeah, I guess it depends on who we're talking about because it's not much left to tell. Because we getting the Ghost and Tommy situations told, and we already this raising Canaan is Canaan's story. The only other ones that I could see possibly that they could okay, today's Courtney Kemp's birthday. No, a couple of people's birthdays today. It's ironic that OG Power started with 8 episodes and Raising Kanan final season ends with 8. Yeah. But only ones that's left that I would say probably would be worth seeing. I mean, I know enough people, certain people wants to see the Tejadas. So perhaps, you know, Monet and Lorenzo's story, they could make something out of that. I mean, it did look kind of cool, you know, season 4 of Ghost. So perhaps they do something with that. And that would be the 2000s as well. And like I said, I thought it would be cool to do 2 prequels at the same time. But I mean, 50 Cent did say that Legacy would be the last power, so perhaps not. But I just thought it would be cool because you can do a crossover with the 2 prequels. Bree's story would be cool too, for sure. Absolutely. Especially if they pull up this bullshit, let's say it's 8 episodes and, you know, 8 episodes and that's it for Breeze. If that happens, that's gonna suck so goddamn bad. And they don't give us a spin-off of it to see more into his life or everything. That's because, like, let's say that Breeze gets taken out this episode, right? Let's say he does. If we do, they would have to rush the hell out of some stuff. Like, they would have to get rid of the Thomases, then get rid of Snaps and Pop, get rid of Unique, perhaps. I mean, we don't know whether or not he's going to survive or not, but, you know, perhaps he does. And then you got to bring in Ghost and Tommy towards the end, the younger versions of them, and then get him taken out. And then keep in mind, you still got to show Ghost's father too. That's why I'm thinking that this more than likely, this is not going to be the end of Breeze. It's just no way. It just not, especially with it being 8 episodes, it just doesn't add up. Because this, and if they do it, it's going to go down in history the opposite of what I hope for. It's going to be real shitty. Yeah, I think Daniel Israel being Darnell Washington would be cool. Unless Breeze is moving, then a Breeze spinoff would be lame. Him and Origins both in Queens doing the same shit at the same time. Well, perhaps not the same time. Because keep in mind, if majority of Origins is in the 2000s and Breeze dies in the 90s, then that would be a totally different time period. Would you be mad if Breeze were only in one season of Raising Kanan like Ronnie Mathis was? Yeah, I would. But like I said, I just think it doesn't make enough sense. And I don't know how they would fit that in. Because if you think about everything that needs to be covered before Breeze is taken out, it's just not going to make sense for them to leave all of it out. The only way they could do it is the way that I've said a couple of times. Breeze gets taken out. They show you the body Like it just do a time jump. They show you the body of him dead, and then they end it, and you don't get to see it. And then or just shows you what happens. I can see a scenario where that happens. So therefore, it won't be the last of him, but we'll know he's dead. Without Breeze and Origins, probably gonna lose some viewership. I want to know why he gave James his nickname. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like it's so much they gotta cover. They gotta show this nigga watching Jeopardy. They gotta show, why Kanan described him as strong but not smart. Like I said, Ghost Dad still has to be into the picture. They gotta show, it's just way too much they gotta show. That's why I think Breeze has to be in Origins. Has to be. Their predictions: Crank, Primo, Snaps, and Pop, Marvin, Rock, Unique, Berilla, Officer Pickett and Riley, Stefano, and Phil Russo. Okay, so DeMarcus, you got my boy Lou living? Rewrite it. I don't care. I need Breeze to get at least 4 to 5 seasons in before he gets killed. Hey, I agree with you. And look, but think about it this way, because this is what I said when I first heard about them doing the Origins and they announced that it'll be, 16 episodes, 18 episodes. 18 episodes. So what I first thought about when I seen this was, they can have Breeze get taken out season 2. Because that way, technically, we would get 3 to 4 seasons of them. It would it would be 4 seasons worth of him. About, because let's see, 10 of Raising Kanan, and then sometime season 2. You get about 4.5. Lulu going to prison for the death of King. I don't agree with you on that. But hey, it could happen. James and Bree's character is still a mystery. I mean, we don't know a lot about Breeze nor Ghost. They got to tell the complete story in detail. Yeah, I agree with that. And then I think it's not a coincidence that both of them's names are kind of similar, right? Ghost and Breeze. Probably going to have something with a connector of that they're going to reveal. And also something I wanted to say in regards to the Rock being dead situation. So obviously something had to have gone down with that in that situation, when Kanan had the gun on her and stuff like that. Because I just think if you look at the name of the title of the episode, people, it's titled "Give Me the Weight," right? Nothing that happened in that episode would describe or really fall in that would make you think, okay, I get why the title of it is "Give Me the Weight." Like I feel like that title hasn't been fulfilled of why they call it that. And with that being said, it made me start, making coming up with a few theories that perhaps in the midst of, they went cut to black and then we heard a gunshot. Could it be a situation where somebody holds Rock at gunpoint or some shit like that and force her to turn over her connect? Because keep in mind, it's supposed to be a situation where Kanan and Kanan and Breeze gets on top. So if that's the case, somebody has to. They have to get a surplus of product from somebody in some kind of way. So perhaps maybe they extorting Rock and be like, hey, give me the access to your plug. And I'm just saying, maybe. Jukebox eliminate Unique. Never know. Ghost didn't know Breeze. Ghost met Breeze in 1996. It killed Breeze in 96. So we know that he did meet him in 96. I'm not getting why you're saying that. But him being killing Breeze in 96, we don't know that for sure. He may have killed him. I see Ghostin is saying 97. Yeah, it could be 97. Nothing for sure has been given to 100% tell us what the year was. We only can speculate and know the time frame. Flossie is Bree. What are you talking about? Trayvon could eliminate Rock because she stole his plug, Isha, from Trayvon, and Rock left Trayvon alive as loose. And could be some truth to that. Could be some truth to it. So, shit. So I'm gonna head on to this next one. So we gonna talk about the origins. Origins with 5 years. So what that come from is I was listening to one of Movie Bot's videos, and he basically was talking about 50 Cent mentioning that Origins is going to be playing for 5 years. Now, could this mean that there's going to be 5 seasons of it? I don't know. But 5 years could mean, this could be what it does. That he could end up doing it similar to how Tyler Perry does his shows. It could be, especially since it's 18 episodes, they could give us 9 of the episodes in the first season, where the first season part 1, and then do a part 2 and air them in different years. Like, let's say Origins, the first season, the first part of it could end up coming the end of this year or the beginning of next year. Either way, part 2 of this is going to end up coming towards the end of 2027 or early 28. So, even though we got 2 different times of power, right? Like 2 different, it's still this part of the same season. So that can stretch it out to 5 years. So I kind of want to say what's y'all's thoughts on that? Like with him saying it'll be airing for 5 years. Flossie is Breeze Connect. Breeze gonna bring his people to take over and get rid of Snaps and Pop. Chess and not checkers playing them close. Hey, you could be right about that. Ghost and Tariq age, a senior in high school, and killed Breeze after school. Yeah, he was Tariq's age, sure. Still doesn't 100% mean he killed him in 96, though. Like I said, we know a time frame. We don't have 100% concrete evidence that it was 96. It could have been 97 as well. Hell, it could have even been 98. Also, keep in mind different writers, so that shit could absolutely change. I'm sure they wouldn't change it too much, but it could change to a degree. And when he was talking to Tariq that time, he could have been anywhere between 16 or 17. Could have been either one. The way they did that. So, from my math, that would be putting Ghost. Like I said, I believe Ghost was born in like 1980. So if you say 17, that would place it at 97. If you say 16, that would place it at 96. So, like I said, we don't know. What's up, Hazy? Respect and blessings, family. Great conversation last night. Family, always remember your health is true wealth. God bless. Hey, I appreciate you, Time. Definitely had some good discussions with you yesterday night. Times, are you subscribed to the Black Chat Chronicles channel? Because the segment that we had yesterday is the Black Chat Chronicles is the channel that you would want to be on for that. Because eventually, once I grow that platform enough with enough subscribers, all of that material will primarily only go exclusively to that channel. I'm thinking 97. I want to say Reek was 17 when Ghost told him he was Reek age when he killed Reese. Yeah, I mean, we know it's either one. The reason why I say 16 or 17 is because it was the first half of the 2-part series, right? And the first half came out in 2019, and then the second half came out in 2020. And then, we know Tariq turned 18, 2021. Berserk, we don't have no proof that they were born in 79, but I do give it a time frame. It's possible that they're born in 79, sure. But I always go with 1980. In fact, like I think that's probably the most accurate year because of nine. Like I said, because of what he said, that's if they follow the same story of the original Power. That's also what's important. We got, like he said, he was Tariq's age when he killed him. We know for sure Tariq was anywhere between 16 or 17 years old. We also know that he met Breeze in 1996. So if he took him out when he was Tariq's age, we know for sure he was Angie said Angie left when he was 15, right? So he probably was 16. That's what I would think. Maybe 16. Could be 17. But either way, we know Angie left when she was 15. In 96, which means 96 Ghost had to be 15. If they keep the same timeline, right? So with that being said, it's anywhere between 1980. It could more than likely it's 80. It could even be 81. Tony Teresi and Sammy could eliminate Stefano McCarley and Marvin, and this is why Kanan probably disliked the Italians. I don't know if Kanan had a dislike for the Italians, but all right. Pull up the OG Power throwback saying that was 1996, their senior year, and look at the weather, which shows it's near the end of the school year. Angela finally made her decision to go away to college. What are you talking about, dude? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I unblocked him because I didn't know the reason he was. But hey, if he gets out of line, he'll go back on it. Only thing is both halves would still be in the same time frame on the show. But yeah, 96, 98 would be around the time he killed them. Forget Ghost would turn 18 of April 98. So it could still be early 98. What if Ghost and Breeze are related? So shots. That's something I've been thinking and I've been having in the back burner. I haven't really, really did anything with it, but I've definitely been thinking that. Could it be a possibility that they're related in some way? But I haven't really, when I tried to connect the dots, it didn't completely add up. So I didn't make a video on it because I don't, unlike a lot of the other content creators, I don't just make shit just to be making shit. It got to kind of make sense. So if I can't connect the dots like that, I'm not going to make it. But I absolutely did think that. It's revealed after he take him out. That's why he regrets it. Or the reason he take him out because Breeze wanted to get rid of Tommy. Ghost chooses Tommy. That's interesting. I don't know though. True. Angie's birthday could have been later in '96. You definitely right about that. Yep. Ghost could have already have been 16. Yeah, I never blocked him. Shout out to the Marcus. I never blocked him. I just unblocked him because I unblocked a couple of people that I didn't recognize was blocked when I was just looking through randomly. So yeah. That wasn't their senior year because Angie left at 50. Yeah, it wasn't their senior year. Absolutely. It was their junior year. And Cho, keep in mind, that's why I was confused with what Tony Montana was talking about. Because Cho is a high school. Um Cho isn't a college. Keep in mind Tariq went to Cho before he went to what's the name of the other one? Callister Prep or some shit. That was high school. But yeah, though. So back into the 5 years, back and still would have been in the 5 years of Origins. Do y'all think Angie is gonna be in it? So if this is the thing. I think if Breeze does turn out to be, in this in Origins, then a younger version of Angela should also be in it, right? But I'm not so sure. It's so weird. Like this is going to be very interesting to see how they're going to do this because we know that we have a younger version of Tasha here, right? And in my opinion, I believe the younger version of Tasha is gonna show up probably the second half of Origins. I don't think she's gonna be well, I don't know, because it said 2002 is the first episode. So never mind, gotta take that back. It's very interesting how they're doing this. Like I said, I think it's gonna be showing present time, then flashback, back to present time. Look like they're gonna be doing things like that. Almost like somewhat of how they did BMF. But yeah, having a younger version of Angela, I think for me, it makes sense to put her in it. And I just think Ghost Dad being in there gotta happen. You feel me? That's somebody they can't leave out. Crank and Primo could get eliminated by Akbar and New Jersey crew, which could start the trend beef. I don't know why you signaled out them two out of everyone, but hey, you could turn out to be right. Do you think Lulu could be Ghost Father still? Absolutely. It's still a possibility. What about '04 when Kanan gets locked up? Not sure what you're asking yet, Miles. But I do think when Kanan gets locked up, we'll be close to the end game of Origins. And another thing, what's y'all ceiling for Origins? Like, do y'all think it's going to be really good? You think it's going to be mid? And also, give a ranking. Just obviously, we haven't seen anything yet, but just give a ranking of what we already have, and according to your expectations of what you think Origins has the potential to be. If you had to rank it between OG Power, Ghost, Raising Kanan, Force, and now Origins. What order would you put them in? I can go ahead and give y'all my pick. So right now, I think Origins does have a lot of potential. It depends on how they go with this Breeze situation. Like, if they do it the way I think they could do it, it has a very high ceiling because we'll get the depth of Breeze in Origins. We'll get the depth of Ghost's father in Origins. Two storylines that we were very interested. At least I know I am, and I know a lot of other fans who are also interested in it. So two deep stories that we were interested in seeing will be revealed in Origins. We get to see Kanan go into jail and how and why. We also get to see did Kanan and Tasha have something going on, why she hated this nigga so much. So a lot of stuff could be revealed in Origins, which gives it a pretty high ceiling. And with that being said, it all depends on how Raising Kanan ends for me. But right now, Raising Kanan, OG Power is still the highest by a little to me right now. But I think Raising Kanan has the potential, if they have a strong season 5, to be number one. But right now, we'll keep OG Power number one, followed by Raising Kanan. Then, Force had a very strong season 3, but the other 2 seasons wasn't as strong. Season 2 was cool. It was good, but it wasn't. Maybe I don't know. It's kind of hard, but I think Origins got the potential to be better than Ghost and Raid and Force, perhaps. Young Tasha could have had help. Young Ghost with his drinking problem. Maybe. Don't Kanan get locked up in '05 because when he got out in 2014. Yeah. Um it's kind of weird with that because we heard Ghost say Kanan got what, 10 years. We heard him say that. And now if I'm not mistaken, yeah, but that was also with him not thinking he would be getting out. And so I mean, yeah, it could be. I thought it was '04. That's the year I said, but could be '05. They'd be a little tricky with these years, but yeah. Because I know, like I say, I know Sean was 20 at the start of Power, and he said it was around Tariq's age when his dad went to jail. Was anywhere between 10 to 11 when the show first started. So you add 10 years, you know, if he was 10, let's say, Jarita is in season 5, right? Who's she connected to? She's in season 5. I'm not sure who she's connected to. That's very interesting to see who she will come from, but probably Breeze. If I had to bet, probably Breeze. Who knows? Perhaps the same thing that Kanan did with Jarita. I mean, Kanan did with Destiny for Tariq. Breeze could have done with Jarita for Kanan. Introduced him to a girl. Could happen, especially if he heard. Let's say Kanan hears about. I mean, Breeze hears about what his auntie and uncle did to his girl. He was like, he introduced him to another girl, and that girl ends up being Jarita. Could happen like that. Prequels don't really tend to be better than the original. Yeah, but this time, in this case, I think they could actually do it. Because to me, Raising Kanan is really good. J Booz could be the leader of the RSKs and introduce Ghost to Roller. Origins could be better than Force and Book 2. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm interested to see Ghost stay with Tommy and his mom. Yeah, so it's interesting because he said what Tommy said in last season of Force that Ghost came to live with them when he was around 8 or 9. So that's sticking with me. I really need to go ahead and make my updated version of my Lulu is Ghost Dad video. You know what I'm saying? Because that's very interesting. Anyway, shout out to DeMarcus. He said it will be a Raising Lamar spinout. What nigga? What are you talking about? I do know 50 Cent did mention something early, during BMF that they were going to do a Lamar spinoff. But yeah. I think Origin's going to be fire. I think it's going to Raising Kanan, OG Power. I'm guessing you're going to say be better than Raising Kanan, OG Power, Origins, then Force. Book 2 doesn't count in my eyes. Legacy is not needed unless Ghost comes back. I almost agree with you on that, my boy. So DeMarcus list is OG Power, Raising Kanan, Power Origins, Book 2. Yeah, I think me and you got the same order. Why does she have to be connected to someone? He couldn't have just met her in the hood or something. Could, but if I had to bet on it, she probably is connected to somebody because she's doing. It looked like in the little trailer that we seen that she's kind of making some moves or whatever. So she's probably connected to somebody. Jarita could be connected with Flossie Segal, and she could be Flossie top earner, and this why Flossie has the scrap pointed at Kanan. Perhaps. Like I said, if I had to bet on it, if she's connected to somebody, I'm going to go with Breeze. I remember when he said something about a Lamar spinoff. So I mean, I believe you on that. I'm not disagreeing. You said I thought it was 10 years. 10 years with what? Oh boy. Bad internet connection is crazy. The time jump. Yeah, it is 10 years. Because it's I mean it's saying '02, and uh we know we left off in '92 so far, but we don't know what year they're gonna end season 5 in. What will happen to Aisha? Juke gonna lose Marvin and Aisha. Yeah, more than likely she will. I can see it. Her ass up out here. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Raising Kanan's ending. You said, do I know why 8 episodes? Well, I kind of already explained that earlier at the first segment, but to be very brief with it, more than likely, if it is 8 episodes, it has something to do with the budget cut. More than likely, it's Shamik Moore is pretty damn expensive, and then you keep in mind after the fourth season in television, the show cost tends to be extremely expensive. Then you add a very high caliber actor to the show as well. So they could have shortened the episodes in order to go ahead and get that shot. And then once you go over the power origins, let's say, you know, Breeze survives and he doesn't die. Hopefully he doesn't. Um, Power Origins won't be as expensive because it's a brand new show. So the cost of that one is cheaper. So DeMarcus, I was looking for that clip. If you have it and know where it's at, go ahead and send that to me. But yeah, I heard about the clip of them saying jukebox taking somebody out, but I haven't seen it. But yeah, so the ending of Raising Canaan, how does it end? I know that's something that a lot of people are curious of and wondering. We know they said it. The Thomas family is going to be dealing with their downfall. So, with that being said, it could mean that this is the end of Rock. She could turn out to actually be dead, people. Because think about this. Um, she has always been the brains of the operation. So if Rock falls, then the whole organization could fall, right? That could be the case. And like I said earlier, what if there's a scenario where you know the Thomas family gets wiped out all at once? So DeMarcus, there are photos and not a video. So I seen some these photos, but I was wondering was it a video? But yeah, so it's kind of crazy, especially if Kanan ends up going through with, let's say he does something to get his family knocked out. I mean, do I think he could possibly go that far and get them knocked off? Probably. I mean, shit. I don't think his family has been that bad yet. At least the rest of his family. Now, what he was manipulated to believe with his mom, I could see it, but not the rest of his family. But he could end up looking at it like, okay, you guys are supporting her, so you're my enemy. Because keep in mind, he did get mad at Juke towards the end and say, if you either with me or against me. So, but yeah, so we got a lot of things to cover towards, in Raising Kanan. We know the Thomas family's downfall is coming. Doesn't necessarily mean they all will die, but their downfall, right? We got Unique and what the aftermath of his storyline would be. Obviously, we got Snaps and Pop. I'm pretty sure none of us will thinks that they're gonna get a happy ending or some kind of survival. Their ass gonna be up out of here. The saddest one. Well, hold up. Who else? B Rilla. I mean, his useless existence will more than likely come to an end. Marvin gone, Russo gone. Neat relocated to Jersey. Rock will be snitched. Will be a snitch for the government. Snaps and Pop gone. Lulu takes his own life. James and Tommy makes an appearance. Stefano goes. That's actually pretty damn good what you said. Let's see, because Marvin, more than likely, absolutely, I agree, he's gonna be gone. And more than likely, Marvin is gonna end up dying in some kind of heroic situation, right? A situation where he's gonna go down protecting the family. And Russo, yeah, he's gonna more than likely Stefano is gonna end up catching up to him. Neat relocating to Jersey. I mean, I can see some truth to that, but at the same time, judging by Unique's character, him saying how he refused to leave then back in the day, more than likely he's not gonna leave now. So I'm not so sure about Neat relocating to Jersey. Could be, but not so sure about that. Rock would be a snitch for the government. Could now that's actually pretty high too. Although I know I've said that she's probably she could be dead too, and I probably would go with it. But what the part that gets me is two things. Like I've mentioned this a couple times before, how they had her alive in Raising Kanan. I mean, the end of Ghost season 4, and then I also remember season 4 of Raising Kanan. The lawyer, um, the lawyer was telling Rock that the government was offering her a get out of jail free card, and more than likely they might be trying to put that into place of why they mentioned it. So very likely that could happen. They snaps and pop gone. Yeah, we know they lose lag. Gotta be up out of here. Lulu taking his own life, although, I would hate to see it because that would go against me. I gotta say, could happen because he tried to take his life before and then ended up not going through with it. And we also found out last season that his father took his own life. So, being suicidal could run in their blood. And if Rock was to die, or Marvin was to die, or let's say Rock is just gone because she had to go in with that, all of it might be just too much for him, and he takes his own life. Could happen. Yeah, be real ain't shit, nigga. Jukebox could eliminate Neek. So yeah, and then we get to the ending. I would suspect Kanan absolutely is going to find out towards eventually that his mother wasn't responsible for the things he thought she was, and he ends up regretting some of the stuff he done, but obviously he can't change it. Could we get an appearance of Ghost and Tommy Young? We might not, bro. We might not get it at all. It'll be nice and cool to see, but we might not get it at all. It depends on how far they decide to go with this. Because one thing we know for sure is that they doesn't meet Breeze until 96. Now they could do a time skip. That could happen. Time skip could happen. But if we do see Telp, Ghost, and Tommy, and there's no time skip, then two things we know for sure: Breeze isn't gonna die, and they're not gonna meet Breeze because he doesn't. They don't supposed to meet him until 96, unless they decide to change that shit. I don't know, Talia. I think that's an easy gimmick because that was all fuck probably ain't catching shit. Gonna catch his ass. He gonna get his ass whooped. Anything else though that anyone else might possibly predict happening towards the end of Raising Kanan? And any other ending that we may like? What about Jukebox? Do we see her leave? Like, do we see Jukebox leave towards the end of Raising Kanan? Like, we know she ends up in DC eventually, but I'm not sure if she goes immediately. But here's the thing: if they skipped to '02, so that would make more sense. But what is she doing towards the end of Raising Kanan? Because I'm pretty sure they're not going to skip to the 2000s on Raising Kanan. So it's interesting to see what will happen with Jukebox character. Crank is either Ghost or the handshaking Kanan. Huh? And in the trailer is Ghost. Tommy is that white kid we saw once in season 3. Okay. Or they can change the timeline, having Breeze dying around 99, 2000. Also true, but even if they did do that, he still wouldn't be in the origins. At least unless they do flashbacks, because we see that they're starting around 2002. Now, what they could do is change the timeline, and Breeze ends up dying in 2002. But it's just interesting because it seems like nothing indicated that, Tasha knew Breeze. Like, she's never mentioned them at all. So I would like to think that she didn't know him. So I would say his ass got to be up out of here before she comes to the picture. But Lou ain't no punk. So Marvin died and Rock died and Lou do nothing. Do y'all remember Marvin in the back of that van with the 50 cal pulling up on Unique for what he tried with Lou? I mean, yeah, that's true, Tony. I can ride with you on that. Mm, he probably would go all out for his brother and his sister. True, they got too much to finish in 8 episodes. That's why I'm saying that, a lot of stuff could get left undone. Might just cover the ending of the Thomases, and Breeze remains alive. Like I told you, the only way he dies, major time skip, only show the body, reveal the rest in origins. That's the only possible way I can see it being done. Or he just lives all together. There's no way they're gonna actually show us everything of what happened with him in just 8 episodes. That'll be super trash. Snaps and Pop could eliminate Marvin. Jukebox eliminates Snaps and Pop. Jukebox could be pissed that Kanan's still working with Breeze and get Kanan that scar on his neck. Okay. This is why Jukebox left Queens and changed her identity in Washington, D.C. So are you implying that she changed it in order to avoid any kind of, heat that she may have catch from taking out Snaps and Pop? That's what confuses me. They killed Breeze to take over, but didn't send Kay to prison for another 5 to 6 years. Let me see. I mean, yeah, could be some shit like that. But I think it was deeper than that with him just taking Breeze out um, to take over. That's the thing. Will we see James' other sibling? Hey, I hope so. Might turn out to be. It could, we even got this thing where it could turn out that it turns out to be Tommy. And there's some people out there that believe that, Kate could be Ghost's mom. What would Ghost and Tommy's ages if Kate's Ghost's mother? Are you asking what are their ages? I mean, I would suggest, you would think that they all gotta be super close apart. So like a year apart, I would say. You know. But that means, she had three kids kind of all back to back, right? Because you gotta remember JP as well. But it's just, it's crazy that his name turns out to be JP, right? And then Ghost's name turned out to be to also be JP. Just saying. Nobody's hoping and wishing nothing, nigga. I'm not even saying it's true. I just said it's people out there that believe it. This is crazy as well, yeah. I know this is random, but I'm watching this bitch that's 7'5", and she's talking about how she showers. That bitch is taller than the whole shower. Her head is at the fucking ceiling. She says the water hits her at her chest, basically. Shit's crazy as hell. I think they went behind Kanan's back with what move. With that move. A lot of moves Kanan didn't like. That's why they set him up for prison. Tommy and JP both middle name Patrick. Yeah, exactly. That's crazy, right? And then his name so happened to be James St. Patrick. I'm just saying, bro. Will be some weird shit. Anyways, good people, let's talk about the last topic of the day of who's surviving. You know what I'm saying? So Raising Kanan, final season. In y'all opinion, who survives this? I could actually throw out a few things, few people. Aisha, dead or alive. Aisha survives. Isn't she away at school? Hey, you just never know. She could end up coming her ass back to hang around Juke again, and this time it cost her. With that Breeze move, Kanan said he was there lying to Tariq, but it was Ghost and Tommy. Yeah. So Roger, you think she's dead? Talia thinks she survives. Detective Payne. Who the fuck is Detective Payne again? Okay, Haley says she survives too. Okay, Aisha. People think you're gonna make it out here. Okay, so here's the one that I think everybody was probably gonna say no, but anybody in here thinks that Marvin has a possibility of surviving. I know everybody probably damn near got him dead at almost a 100% rate. It'd be funny if Marvin survives this. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna say Garcia died. Kanan, Breeze, Juke, Jarita, Rock, Neek, Flossie, Tremont survives. Well, we know Jarita, Kanan, and Jarita survives, and Juke. So that goes without saying. Neek surviving is I don't know. His ass probably out of here. Flossie, maybe. I think Aisha is gonna survive too because I just don't at this point right now of how I'm looking at it. I mean, this my opinion may change after we get the trailer, but right now I just don't see the value of her death right now. So she could actually end up surviving. Maybe a scenario happens where Marvin ends up dying and Jude tells Aisha to, go to school and stay away from her because, her lifestyle is too dangerous and she cares about her too much to let something happen to her. I can see a scenario like that. Gotcha. I remember who the Detective Ping is now. There you go, this nigga with this fruit cup shit. Get your punk ass up. God damn it. Get your punk ass up out of here. Look at this thing trying to stop me from getting him out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Get your ass up out of here. Fruit cup shit. I got Lou surviving too. Because he got to make it the origins. Get Mayor Karen Bass punk ass out of here. Anybody follow for that bullshit? Symphony showing up would be kind of cool, especially. But I'd say the only way we'll see anything with Symphony is it depends on what the outcome of Rock would be. Whether she leaves out of town or something, she may go connect with him, or perhaps a scenario where she dies and he comes to her funeral. That man came in here to talk about this. It's just, yeah. He came his little punk ass up in the NBA joint too, trying to do some fruit cup shit. I wasn't sure what he was talking about, so I asked him a question. And he never responded, so I didn't get him up out of here. Then Jerome gets caught in the crossfire. So you got Jerome dying. Damn. You know, some people believe Jerome turns out to be Roland, right? Some people believe that. Or also that Jerome could turn out to be the character in Origins named J Booz or whatever his name is. Or Symphony could be Ghost Pops. You know, there's been speculations about that. Only thing that kind of makes me curious, you know, to kind of throw that off is um, Symphony's age. Symphony was kind of young, you know. Symphony may have been like around 22, 23. And 24 maybe at the most, probably. Unless he had a child, you know what I'm saying, at the age of 12, 13 or some shit. He ain't goes that. So unlikely. Jerome is RSJ. You know, could be. But I must say, another lost character, people, of in Raising Kanan that I'm a little curious of, you know, they kind of just disappeared. And I would love if they could give us some clarity to clear this up of what happened to these characters. So we know about what's the guy's name? I forgot his name now, but season 3, you know who Famous got his weed from, right? And Famous got his weed from, and then of course Kanan started buying weed from him to sell. And he had a son named Romero. So, you know, that's another one that I was looking at to potentially be Simrad. That's who it is. Thank you. So I'm out. You know, I'm curious of what happened to Simrad because you know Simrad, it just doesn't make sense. You know, Ghost selling weed from him, and then all of a sudden Ronnie approaches him, of course, to sell heroin. Obviously, heroin is more lucrative. I'm not sure what you're saying, Talia. I'm a little confused. I mean, somewhat with Paul DeMarcus, but we kind of know what happened to Paul to a degree. You know, we know that he was messing around with Kanan and Ronnie's operation, and they approached him and you know kind of scared him off. So that's kind of enough to know what happened with Paul. He just got scared and probably ran off and never came back. But you know, the situation with Simrad, we never heard anything. We don't know what happened. And from my experience, you know, plugs don't be too happy with you just switching out of nowhere. Like you've been making them money, then all of a sudden that money's not coming no more. Short notice out of nowhere, right? So a lot of people, he could possibly be unhappy about that. But we never seen him approach Kanan about, what happened to the business or whatever. Nothing. Only yeah, that's what I was saying. I yeah, I was kind of, since I've been saying since season 3 that Romero could turn out to be RSJ. Because, RSJ turned out said that his dad was a petty criminal that ran numbers. And, Samurai sort of feels that description. Only reason I gotta disagree with you, Talia, is because Samurai is not really a petty criminal. I also don't believe he's married. Uh, um, so what does the marriage part has to do with it? And I don't know. I think being a weed, a weed guy in an apartment can kind of qualify as a petty criminal, my opinion. You ain't doing that big, right? You ain't selling no heroin or crack, cocaine. We didn't see Samurai enough to know either of those things. So, yeah. Detective Tanner. So we kind of got closer with Detective Tanner as well. I mean, we didn't necessarily see all of it, but it was enough for me that you didn't really need to see anything further. We know that what he was investigating, Howard ended up dying. So that task force, ended up dying with him. I don't recall anything with RSJ saying his parents is married. That's why I'm a little confused. I'm wrong, but I don't recall him saying anything like that. And even if he was, we still don't know whether or not Samurai was or not. Romero is Rolla and Primo is RSJ. That's interesting. But I think but this is the thing. I think Romero is too old to be Rolla. That's my only that's my only critique with that. Yeah. So I don't really think that's the case because the way Ghost talked to, the way Ghost and Tommy talked about and talked to Roller was if he was someone that was significantly younger than him. He said the boy you raised to grow up in the street, right? In order for you to raise somebody in the streets, you gotta be at least, I would say, 5 years older, right? At least 5 years older. Could be more. So with that being said, because I was because at the beginning of Power, Ghost is around 33, 33, 35 at the oldest, right? And I would say Roller had to have been probably for sure in his 20s, late 20s, mid 20s, something like that, right? So going back to Romero, Romero is around. When we saw him, he looked like he could be anywhere between 8 to 12. That's the age range he looked. Either way, that was in 92. In 92, Ghost is anywhere between 11 to 12. So the ages don't match. There's no way Ghost is 12 and Romero is 12. If Romero is going to turn out to be Roller, because Ghost is a good amount of years older than him, at least 5 years. I wonder if we see Nicole mother Linda. Nigga, nobody cares about her. I would lean more to what Reserve said about Romero being Roller. Roller not a dumb kid. Roller was said to be smart. Yeah, but like I said, the age don't match. Romero was interested in the streets just for him to become the leader of the RSK, Rock Street Killers. Someone's theory is RSJ is Ghost's brother. Yeah, I heard that floating around. I think I even made a video on that before. Yeah, a while back. Like I said, he has a chance at being RSJ because we don't have an age stamp for RSJ. We don't have any idea what his age is. But Romero, but Roller, we have an age range. If that bitch showed back up talking about Nicole death, that should be crazy. I actually do have a question regarding Roller. Why was he not introduced in the Origins cast? He knew who Kanan was, and Kanan knew Ghost raised him. When do you expect to introduce Roller? Yeah, that's a good question. Perhaps he shows up the next season. Because keep in mind, said Ghost raised him in the streets, and Ghost right now is the age of 22. So I guess it depends on the age of. It kind of seemed like in the first season that Rolla knew who Kanan was more so, like kind of knew of Kanan more so than actually knowing him, you know? So if that's the case, then perhaps Rolla showed up after Kanan was already in jail. That could, because think about this. Think what Kanan said in season 2 when he was talking to Q Dubs. He said, Ghost, I gave this territory to Ghost and Tommy, whatever Ghost and Tommy gave to Rolla, he gave to you. So it seems as if this transaction was done after he was already in jail. And as if, maybe while he was in jail, Ghost and Tommy was just keeping Kanan informed on everything that's going on. Because we did see, Ghost calling and having, conversation with Kanan. So maybe that's how he knew, and they didn't actually know each other. Because like I said, Rolla was pretty young. Because, he referred to him as a boy. And you only refer to somebody as a boy unless they're significantly younger than you. 5 years or more. So it could be that Ghost could actually be maybe like 10 years older than him. So if that's the case, let's just go with 10 years, right? If we go with 10 years, in 2002, that means Rolla would be 12 years old. So, he might be too young to be around. Or let's just go, even if we go with 5 years, 22, that'll place Rolla at around 17. That's old enough. But yeah, he could just end up showing up season 2, or maybe his character is too small right now. Like maybe they're going to introduce him as just a co-star, or a day-to-day player or something like something like that. The first season, because his role is not very significant, and then perhaps the next season his role gets bigger. It's a couple of ways they could be, they could play this. Every power has loose end storylines that don't get finished. Unfortunately, you're right, and I'm hoping Raising Kanan can do much better job at this than the previous shows. Jukebox could eliminate Linda, and this caused Jukebox to flee for Queens. Also, Linda did have pool in Queens. We don't care. Anyways, I gave this territory to Ghost and Tommy and them, and he gave it to y'all. This shit is alone. Don't make us collect. How you gonna do that? What Kaden is saying is, we're not here to be cute, dog. Rolla and Young Ghost gonna show up when they pass the law carrying drugs and a gun gets you a mandatory 15-year sentence. That's when Kanan got killers to watch over his carriers. Okay. He said y'all stood toe to toe with him behind the wall. Now you out here rolling around with white boy. You should be wearing green. we should be making green. I forgot that y'all are basing and follow other countries. The market shut your ass up, bag. I don't even watch other content creators, so I know for damn sure you can't be talking about me. Only other content creator I somewhat watch, and it's very, very rare now. It's every once in a while I'll watch Movie Bite. I actually seen a little bit of Getting How I Live video earlier today, and I turned that off. Now, perhaps later on, once we actually back in, we get the trailer and stuff, I'll start tuning in a little bit more of what some of them are saying, but I don't really care. I think Roller knew Kanan before he got locked up. He could have. He could have, but even if he did, I think it's very minor. You know what I'm saying? He didn't know a lot of it. Probably was very brief. What what do y'all do if somehow Unique kills the? Oh man, don't come in here with that shit, bro. We know that shit ain't happening. I don't know where that bullshit had started at and who's trying to start it, but that bullshit ain't happening. Breeze is breeze. Unique is unique, bro. I heard it was FP that started that shit. But bro, just hold it down. The name Breeze. It's okay. Anyways, people, I'm getting ready to close out. We got any more follow-ups, questions, and or things that you want to bring up before I get up out of here? It will be a crazy twist, no doubt. But come on, bro. We know this shit ain't happening. It would shock the hell out of me, and I'd be like, "What the fuck?" And I would think it would be kind of trash if it did happen. But come on. Roller worked for Kanan. Roller and the RSKs protected his carriers because they couldn't carry guns. Ghost was a killer for Kanan. They was killers for Kanan, not carriers. Okay, this is just some shit you making up again. Gotcha. What would you do if he turned this shit off immediately? I'm a little confused. What are we talking about today? What, I'm pretty sure I'm missing something, but what are you talking about? Would a real Hulk confuse Trey Young head for a nest? What the fuck, dude? His head do look crazy though. It's kind of crazy. It do like a damn nest or some shit. It's hilarious that y'all bash what I say and what I say actually come true. Like with the 8 episodes of Raising Game. Bro, you be wrong about a shitload of stuff. First off, I would have agreed that you did say something about the 8 episodes way ahead of time. I'll give you some credit for that. But come on, bro, you be wrong about a shitload of shit. We all be wrong, but you be saying some wild shit, and that shit be way off. So stop it. It's bad. Right now, Breeze doesn't look strong, but not smart. But maybe later in the season, we're gonna kind of see him do some things that kind of lets us see exactly what Kanan was talking about. Because it could be just his perspective of him. Because Ghost and Tommy never described him um, as that, but they also didn't pretty much say anything about his personal life, unlike Kanan. So it could be that he's smart, but he has a few flaws that turned out to be fatal that Kanan looked at to be not too smart. I'm not sure about the Mortal Kombat movie. I should don't really care too much. Could end up seeing it, but more than likely I won't. Nate be having some crazy theory. I ain't checked out Nate in a while, but yeah, my boy be coming out with some wild ones. Charles from Beauty and Black was in Power, resting cute. Yeah, I saw that. It's crazy. The last time when we watched it on the Discord, that's when I first noticed that that's who it was. Will I check out 1 spoon chocolate with some meat? More than likely, no. Even though if it is Quentin Tarantino. But hey, who knows? Anyway, though, yeah, I gotta get up in the morning. So I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to get up off here. But good stuff. Hopefully we get that trailer soon. So we can have a whole lot to talk about when that trailer drops. I'll be doing a whole lot of personal videos, obviously, and a lot more lives as we, get draw closer to the premiere of the first episode. But until then, I'm gonna holler at y'all. Appreciate y'all.